Hello everyone, my name is Mirna and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us, Angel Ribo, CEO, consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is co-hosting with our dear Dan Blanchard. Dan is a best-selling and award-winning author, speaker, and educator. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, while we are live streaming, we have the active chat, the screen that you're going to be seeing on our side or under the video if you're seeing us from a smartphone, and through there you can interact with us. We also want you to collaborate with Mindalia with your own valuable content, and for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you're going to find the link that says Collaborate with Mindalia. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out, and our technical team will be getting in contact with you. You can collaborate with Mindalia in English through Mindalia TV English, but you can also do it through Mindalia Televisão in Portuguese and Mindalia Televisión in Spanish. So we want to invite you to visit our different channels, to follow our Facebook pages, Instagram accounts. In that way, you not only help us reach as much people as possible, but you also keep yourself updated with the wonderful information that we're sharing on a daily basis. I'm not going to delay this any further, and I am going to be leaving you with Dan, with Angel, and our special guest, Nazario. He is the founder of the Peace Center of Connecticut. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mirna, very much for the introduction. Welcome back, Daniel. How are you?
Wonderful, Angel. Glad to be back. As always, busy as all heck. And as you know, I just got chosen to speak at the National Teachers Convention this summer, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Absolutely.
In Washington, D.C.
All the social media networks were pumped and were really, really hot, like red hot. Congratulations,
No doubt.
definitely. Congratulations, Daniel.
Thank you.
Very well deserved. So here we are. It's actually, this week is well, probably when this airs, it's not going to be anymore, but it's spring break week, which is here in the north of Texas, in Plano, Texas. So what that means that parents and kids are together for a week, and we can regroup and we can talk about what has happened throughout the year, what's been going on, what are the goals for the year, the levels of stress, and how we can have a nice break and time out for our kids and for the education of our kids and for ourselves. So it's a special moment. Is it the spring break as well in Connecticut?
Well, in Connecticut, March is like the college spring break.
Yeah.
The students, the high schools, spring break is like in April. So we're a little bit behind you, Angel.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good, exactly. It's all good. So what do you think that, talking about that, award, what do you think of that nomination? What do you think that made that organization pick you for such a special
that's a good question.
position?
I would say the fact that I've been out on the speaking circuit for a while, that I do a lot of stuff on social media, and the fact that we do this show, Angel, and we have fabulous guests on, like Iran. I think that's really making a big difference. I can't wait to introduce the audience to Iran and to everybody who he is and the great connection that me and Iran have and the great things that he's doing out there. So I just think all these little things add up. And I think, Angel, as you know, when you keep putting good things out there, sooner or later people start noticing and good things start coming back. And I know Iran feels the same way on that. So I think that's probably the answer in a nutshell, Angel.
Awesome. So, welcome to Mindalia TV, Iran. This is your home. So thank you very much. So tell us about what makes Dan, what makes Iran so great?
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, I didn't know Iran until maybe about a year ago or something like that. And we have been running parallel lives in many, many ways. And Nutmeg Television introduced us about a year ago. They had a special on us, and they brought to light some very, very cool things about me and Iran had in common, very, very rough upbringing. And then when we were like teenagers, I was out there tearing it up on the wrestling mats, and Angel was out there tearing it up on the streets. You know what I'm saying? We were very good at what we did. And then later on, I became like a frontline foot soldier in the military. You know, Angel was doing the same things in the gangs. I climbed up to be a squad leader in the Army. Angel climbed up to be a leader in the gangs. And then later on, you know, we both saw that we wanted to make peace. You know, it was great to have big muscles and be tough and be willing to rumble and tumble and all that stuff. But we also know that, you know, we saw too many kids out there, you know, getting hurt and going down the wrong way, and they needed help. So Angel started his Peace Center of Connecticut, which is a fabulous organization. It's doing awesome things. And I've been an inner city school teacher for 20 years, you know, doing some great things with some very tough kids, just like Iran's doing. And, you know, we didn't even know this, but what was going on was that Nutmeg Television was running parallel TV series. They were running multiple shows on Iran and multiple shows on me, where it would all lead to the same place of me and Iran sitting together to talk about it in the grand finale. And I thought that was such a cool formula that Nutmeg Television did. And I was pumped to meet this guy that I'd never met before. And there we were meeting for the first time on TV, sitting there talking, and we'd kind of already been briefed on each other and kind of watched some of each other's shows and all that. But just to sit there, Iran, with you in that final show, I can't thank Nutmeg Television for making that happen. And me and you, two guys that, you know, come from rough beginnings, you know, who rose to the top in rough worlds, and now we're giving back. So it was just such a place. And people can't, you know, and these kids, like, they can't look at us and say, oh, you're choosing peace and you're choosing to be kind and loving because you're a wuss, because you're soft, because you can't throw down. They can't say that. You know what I'm saying? They cannot say that. So I think that gives me and Iran a little extra credibility in the rough world that's out there. Iran, I've just touched the tip of the iceberg with, like, you know, what me and you do. Can you please pick up and fill in our audience some about you and what you're doing?
Sure. Well, Dan, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You know, it was truly a kind of cross paths for us to meet the way we did. We were able to really kind of connect and determine that, you know what, no matter what we look like, we're able to have great impact. And I think it's also made it a point where it is super critical that different people from different cultures and backgrounds and, you know, wherever it is you come from, give back to the young people that are looking for leadership. So I want to thank you for that and the opportunity. Angel, thank you for welcoming me to the show. I'm really excited about being a part of it. So, you know, as Dan mentioned, you know, we were pretty much circling the same blocks. I think that he was in a smaller car and I was on a bike, and we just kind of happened to be in the same areas, same neighborhoods, just doing some things that we today we understand made us into who we are. So, you know, I was homeless at 11 years old, and, you know, I came, you know, into learning about the streets during my first gang when I was 12, and, you know, my life started kind of spiraling out of control while I was involved in that lifestyle. But that was my normal. That's what I thought was normal to me. So because of that, I didn't see that anything was wrong. I just said, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is what my life has given me. So therefore, this is what it must be like. So I stayed there for many, many years, man. I did a lot of things, lost a lot of friends. You know, 1 year out on the streets in the gangs, we went to war with another gang, and, you know, we lost like 35 friends of ours that 1 year, just to, you know, the shootings and all of that. And, you know, little by little, as all those things started to become reality, something inside of me, kind of like in Dan and perhaps in you and others, started to say, wait a second, there's got to be a different way to really channel our energy, to give back, to feel like you have a purpose, to feel like you belong. And I started looking at that. So here we are about 20 plus years later. I'm now the president and founder of the Peace Center of Connecticut. But before I got here, I was a first responder with a street outreach and crisis program for 14 years. And I responded to over 500 shootings in the capital city of Hartford, Connecticut. And responding to those incidents and watching those many people be injured and hurt and whatever really kind of took me back, continued to take me back to all the years that I was on the streets and all the damage that I was doing. And it kept fueling my fire for wanting to do more and more to save these young people, kind of like what Dan is doing through his books and his speeches and his schoolwork, to really kind of give them a different attitude, a different experience, a different insight into exactly how it is that you can change your life by making one split decision, or by walking away from one conflict, or by reaching out to an adult that is kind of corny in your head, but they know more than you think they do, to give you that advice. So then maybe a couple of years ago, I wanted to expand on my work. And I thought that what a better way to do it than to bring people around the state of Connecticut that were doing peace work, and for us to have collective impact together, to be out there and really then promote peace. And especially nowadays, with so many conflicts being center stage, we need a force that's going to combat that, but in a positive way. And I think Dan and I and your show and what we're doing here is a true testament to that happening. So I'm proud to be here, and I haven't really done much. I have so much more I need to do, and I think that we're just starting to scratch the surface on what we could possibly do to impact people across our state and the world. And this is why I'm here, because I want to be able to at least leave my life knowing that I did the very best that I could to provide the best opportunities for young people and others. That's why I do the work.
Wow. Outstanding. Oh my God. So thank God that you were introduced to Dan, and Dan introduced you to us. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of things that come to my mind after hearing you, but there's one thing that probably, because you've obviously been dealing with, really troubled people, troubled kids, troubled families, troubled neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But you mentioned something which I think sometimes makes children and makes young men and young women take the wrong path. And it resonated with me a lot, because actually my own kids tell me sometimes, "Daddy, you're so corny." I am a very outgoing guy. So every time I'm out there, I'm really like, I always talk to everybody with from my heart. Sure. And I am really, really like friendly with everybody. And they keep on telling me, "Daddy, don't say that. Don't be like this." So the concept is, there's a lot of kids that think that there's a lot of different, things around them that are corny. So, they're going to be like probably like bullied or ashamed by their friends, by their, kids around them. And this factor of, no, I don't want to be ashamed. I have to be more than the others. I cannot be like that. So like this sense of belonging, sometimes to the wrong part, to the wrong place, makes a lot of kids and young men and young women take the wrong path. What do you think about this?
Well, I can tell you that, what you're talking about is the impact of peer pressure, the impact of what society expects from young people. And the facts are that many times the people that know the most are the people that have experienced that in the past, right? And what I have seen in my career, and at least in this, again, to answer your question a little bit more clearly, is that when young people realize that you are a safe person, that you are a safe space where they can share their fear of not belonging, their fear of not connecting, their fear of not being able to be cool amongst their friends, all those things, and you can guide them through how you arrived at a point where that didn't matter, that's when young people start to believe that they can be different than the norm. And that's one of the things that's hard for young people. It's hard for young people to stand kind of outside of the traditional box. And I think what Dan and I do, what you're doing, is we're able to set the stage and the framework for young people to believe that there are other ways. I'm exactly like you are. I am as connected and friendly, as outgoing, as responsible, as respectful to people as I can be. So I say hello to everyone. And my kids have adopted that same practice because it makes your life easier. And unfortunately, with the hardcore personalities or society being as directly involved in sending messages of aggression, we have to be able to show young people that aggression is going to get you only so far if you're doing it in a way where it's hostile, is damaging to you. If you do this one, if you go this route, it's easier for you, but it is not easy. And that's why we have to stay the course. That's why we have to continue to press on, because we, just like we're talking to them possibly today as they're watching your show, we're talking to them while we're doing work, the other side is talking to them too. So we need to stay consistent. We need to stay on it. Dan, what do you think?
I'm so on board with what you're saying. Aaron, everything you're saying is so right. If I can add to it, I would
Sure.
say that for all adults, they should not be afraid to lead by example and speak up and say something to kids. I was just recently at a college wrestling match where there was some kids up behind me. They were making fun of the other team, and nobody wanted to say anything. And I turned around. They didn't know me. You know what I'm saying? And I turned around and I said, "Hey, guys, can we keep this good sportsmanship like?" And they were like, "Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, man. Sorry about that." Now, nobody wanted to say anything because everybody, I think, was afraid to say something. Now, I say that we all have to try to lead by example and be willing to say something in a kind way. Like I didn't say, "Hey, shut up back there." I didn't say that. I said, "Hey, guys, can we all keep this sportsman-like?" I mean, that's what we are, right? Good sportsmen. So keep it positive, right? Another thing I'd say is that Angel, Iran, myself, we're already doing this. But like all the adults out there, I think you need to stretch outside of your comfort zone and try to do something to make yourself like a little bigger, such as we're on this TV show, Mindalia TV, such as we speak in front of audiences. You know what I'm saying? We're writing or aspiring to write like new columns, new books, new blogs, like we're stretching. Angel, you got your thing there with the nonprofit and the entrepreneurs. Iran, you're a nonprofit, the Peace Center, right? I mean, the things that we're doing, kids like look up to us. Even kids that you think may not look up to us. So then when we like turn our gaze their direction and we say, "Hey, yo, come here a second, buddy. I'd like to talk to you." They come and they want to hear what we have to say. You know what I'm saying? They don't just look at us like another teacher or another parent or another crossing guard. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And those roles are important. But I'm saying that no matter what your role is as an adult, you can stretch it a little bit out of your comfort zone to try to get the kids maybe to admire you and respect you a little bit more so that you have a bigger impact. I know that that's what we're doing. I know people out there are doing it everywhere. And I don't know, Irene, if you've thought about that yet on how that influences what you do, but it absolutely does influence what you do. And hopefully that's part of a driving force for you to keep doing the good that you're doing.
No, it does. It does impact me. I am a voice of positivity. Everything I post has to do with positivity. Everything I read has to do with positive. The people around me have to do with positivity. And a lot of times that's seen as offish or weak in some circles. But as people continue to see you and they start seeing your success, make no mistake about this. The facts are that young people are listening, and we can't believe that they're not. The facts are that they are, and I know that from having actually this upcoming Thursday, they're doing a feature. The next Thursday, they're doing a feature here about the Peace Center, and they asked me, find 2 people who you've impacted to be part of the segment. So I found a young lady that I used to mentor back in 1999, 2000, who's now working for the police department and doing all the things. And first thing she told me was, "Oh, I would do it in a second for you because you've impacted my life." And so even those days where I pretended that I was tough and yelling back at you or walking away from you, and you kept talking and you kept following and you kept saying things to me, I appreciate every second you put into my life, because now I'm listening and I understand that that's important. The second guy they're going to interview is a former member of the Latin Kings, which is our bitter rival gang that we went to war with. He's going to talk about how even as a Latin King, he watched me from prison because he was serving 20 years in jail. He watched me from prison being interviewed, and he said, "You know what? If he can do it, I can do it." He came home from prison. I gave him a job, and now he's leading the team, working out on the streets. So the facts are that the people that you believe are listening the least are listening the most. And it's up to us to not shut up. It's up to us to continue to be that voice piece, but also understand when somebody else needs to step in. Then if I'm with a kid and I'm not connecting with him and my ego is in the way and I'm not letting you get in, then I'm doing a disservice to that kid, because you might be the voice he needs. Just like a kid that you're talking to might need my voice, or he needs Angel's voice. So it's collective. It's all of us combined working for the same purpose, which is to save the lives of these young people.
No doubt. I love everything you just said about setting the example, being the role model, having people follow you just because of the good that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And the whole, don't shut up. When I talk to parents and they come into my school and they're like, "My kid doesn't listen to me," I go, "Yeah, he does. He listens to you. He's just pretending." that he's not
Yeah.
listening to you. He is. So keep talking, right? And I
That's
know
right.
as a teacher, many times I've had to pass the buck to like another adult saying, hey, can you talk to this kid for a second? Because right now me and this kid are butting heads. But just to
Yeah.
add to that, I ran what you're saying. Sometimes, believe it or not, the opposite sex stepping in. You know, if I can get a female educator to step in, or sometimes a
Sure.
female educator or a female adult needs a male to step in, and just
Sure.
because maybe at the time, you know, that's just what they need, a different voice from maybe a different gender for whatever reason. So I would say, you know, all adults out there, all men, all women, don't shut up. You know, don't be intimidated. Keep talking because our kids need us.
Absolutely.
I agree
Absolutely.
absolutely. So just to brief you a little, because it's the first time that you are with us, Iran. So I'm the president of Wisdom for Kids, and what we do is we help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using the local resources. That's the work that he was referring to me. And it's funny because just last week I was talking to, you mentioned the Latin Kings, and I was talking to a coordinator at the New York City state, and he was the founder of the Latin Kings in New York. He was literally the founder. I don't know if I sent you an email, Daniel, but
Yeah.
and the story that he
Yes.
explained to me, I mean, he was from both Puerto Rican and Italian origin, and he eventually ended up in jail, unfortunately. But when he left jail, he went into the city and he said, "I want to fix this myself. I want to be an example. I want to be the change. I want to be the change." And now there's thousands of people, you know, under him and working with him in New York City, in order to make sure that, you know, all the kids, the kids in the street, the young men, the young women in the street, you know, stay in a peaceful place, travel free as much as they can. So,
Sure.
you know, when we hear these testimonies, and I'm sure that, you know, when you mentioned 500, you know, occasions in which you were involved with shootings, you know, what's the number one thing what's the number one lesson that you have learned from those? I mean, do they have anything in common that you could share with the audience?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of common traits of that scenario going into play. I worked in very poor communities. Hartford has one of the poorest zip codes in the state of Connecticut, and I also did some work in New York and New Jersey and all that. And generally, communities who lack the resources and funds to adequately serve their people generally have a high crime rate, right? High shooting rate. But the thing that I noticed the most, in incredibly enough, as I dealt with parents and I dealt with kids that were crying and traumatized and all kinds of pain going through their bodies, was the lack of connection to community. And I mean that in this way. You had people who would not talk to their neighbor, would not talk to the person across the street, would not say hello to the person around their circle. So if you're in a pot like that, right? If your community is a cesspool or a pot of poverty and hopelessness and abandonment and poor education, and then on top of that, you don't talk to your neighbors, you don't trust your neighbor. Eventually, it's going to be easy for you to hurt that person because you have no connection, no physical reason why you would care about how they feel, how they hurt. And connection is important. Like, I just met Dan a little over a year ago, and the facts are that if I'm walking with you, brother, and somebody's going to hurt you, I'm not going to let it happen because I'm going to care for your safety. I know that you have children at home or family at home, and I want you to get home, right? But if I never dealt with you, talked to you, cared about you, the likelihood that I'm going to care that something happens to you is probably less, especially if I got all that other stuff on my shoulders. So the number one thing that I noticed was the disconnect between people in those communities. It was heartbreaking to see how people just didn't want to connect with each other. And it was incredible to me. It was absolutely incredible. And one of the lessons that I wanted to do with the Peace Center, that's what led me also to doing this, because I said, how can I connect people to peace so people can feel like they can depend on each other and do the work together?
Awesome. Extraordinary. Yeah. And do you think we could do something? Because obviously those kids might have gone to school, probably, right? I mean, I guess it's also mandatory in Connecticut to obviously that all the kids under a certain age they have to go to school, but
Yeah.
eventually they end up in the streets, right? They end up in trouble. So what besides community, what would you say is the disconnect? How do these kids go from going to a school, being in a school system, onto because obviously let me play a trick here. They're going through Dan. Dan is with them. Dan is with them every single day. Dan is helping them. He's in the school system. He's doing all these amazing things that he does. But still, there's a small part of them, right, that they take the wrong turn at some point. And obviously, I would like to ask you, Iran, and then to ask Dan, what would you guys say? It's that missing point, that turning point that unfortunately they took the wrong path.
Well, I think that is very different for each kid, right? So, working with so many young people, if I could say one of the factors that leads to a young person making a decision to kind of disconnect from social structures and systems is that sense of something fell apart at some point, because they don't start off when they're born, I don't want to go to school. They don't start off hating someone. They don't start off wanting to be gang members. They don't start off that way. So for me, one of the factors that I realized and noticed was that young people eventually got to a point where something changed, some dynamic, something in the family, some trauma happened, some message was delivered to a young person that completely changed the way their minds operate. It happened to me, right? So when I was a young child and I was being abused and neglected by my parents, I was still going to school, right? But as soon as I got to about 11 or 12 and I realized what my life was like, school became secondary to me and survival became first. I had to survive the streets. I had to survive my family. I had to survive abuse. So for a lot of kids, one of the changes, because there are plenty of people that are great at connecting with kids like Dan and others, but there's so many going by us at the same time that you literally have to have 500 Dans, right? So for me, it's really about young people, something happening to a young person. I think it's either trauma related or bully related or disconnect related or family related that eventually changes the course of how young people go. So it is up to us to keep an eye on that. When we see that a kid all of a sudden that's doing really well shift, and one day they miss and 2 days they miss, and you don't catch up to that and you don't check in, most likely that kid has now been traumatized in a way that needs a lot of help. And I think that that's one of the factors. The trauma, the disconnect of young people to the importance of education happens with something that happens to them. And
Iran, that's a great answer. I'm going to piggyback on that. And Angel, I know we got to wrap this up real soon, so I'm going to keep my answer short and sweet. And it kind of goes right with everything we're saying, and it piggybacks perfectly on Iran's answer, is that definitely something went wrong somewhere. And now what's really, really important is that we need at least one adult somewhere that really cares about that kid and that's really looking out for that kid and is going to make that connection with that kid, even when that kid pushes him or her away. Sure. That adult doesn't quit, doesn't give up, makes that connection with that kid, and then you can turn that kid around and save that kid. And that's the short answer, but that can happen. And like I said, I know, Angel, we got to wrap up here because we have another show we have to do.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Go on.
Yeah. So if I can continue with that, and just real quick, like I said, there have been kids that I have asked. I've had some really tough kids that have sworn at me, threatened me, and a few years later, they are like my best friend, coming back, helping me out, maybe being like an assistant volunteer, unpaid wrestling coach, helping me out with sports, helping me out with events, whatever it is. And when I ask them, I say, hey, what made the difference in your life? So many times they were like coach or teacher or mister, whatever they called me. They said, hey, I just wanted to be like you. You know what I'm saying? Because I made that connection with them and they wanted to be around me, even like me a little bit. And that kind of goes back to what Iran was saying earlier about that Latin king in prison where he saw Iran. He goes, you know what? I want to be a little bit like that guy. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a little bit like that guy. That guy seems special. That guy looks like he cares. that makes a huge difference. We can save our kids if we do that kind of thing. Catch them, beware when they're slipping, when they're falling off, because survivors become the most important thing, and be that one adult in their life that can turn everything around. And
Awesome.
I think we can do it. I know we can.
Awesome. So Iran, how can we find you online?
So you can find me in a number of ways, but you can go on Facebook, Iran Nazario. I'm all over Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. My organization, Peace Center of CT.org, Peace Center of CT.org, or Peace Center of Connecticut, on any social media platforms. I'm kind of all over the place, so people can find me and connect with me. And again, thank you, Angel, for this amazing opportunity and for your work out there, and what you're doing for young people. Dan, my friend, thank you for the introduction and for allowing me to be a part of that.
Anytime, Iran. And I also know you got a big event coming up in the next few weeks. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so every year we honor peace heroes from across the state of Connecticut and nationally who are dedicating themselves to peace. So this year we are honoring on April 25th, Thursday, April 25th in West Hartford Pond House Cafe. We're honoring 3 local peace heroes and 1 national for all the great work that they're doing across Connecticut and across the country.
Beautiful work. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today, Iran. It's been an amazing conversation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Daniel, where can we find you online?
Yeah, you can find me all over the internet. Dan Blanchard, author, speaker, educator, Amazon, The Storm. Check me out. I'm everywhere. You'll see me. It won't be hard to find me. Thank you, Angel. And Iran, my brother from another mother. Great spending more time with you again today. We're going to catch up again soon.
That's right, man. Peace, brothers.
Absolutely. Peace. Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. I hope that you have enjoyed the show as much as we have. We hope that you have a good rest of the day and hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.